Hi, it's Celeste Majors, your canary in the coal mine. And just to remind you, that's the name of my website, yourcanaryinthecoalmine.com, where you can find my archive of all the past videos I've done on these subjects, and you can look for subjects that interest you. So today I'd like to talk about the fact that in my part of the United States, right at this particular time, it's the cold and flu season. And many people are coming down with colds and flu. And they say that this might be the worst flu season ever. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. For the last, I don't know how many years, but at least 5 or 10, I've been avoiding taking vaccinations. So when the person at the drugstore wants to sell me a flu vaccine, I just abstain from it. And why do I do that? I have two reasons. First of all, as per my name, Your Canary in the Coal Mine, which I adopted because I am so sensitive to so many things that I feel like that little bird that they used to take down into the coal mines to warn them when there was toxic substances in the air. So almost every time I have gotten a vaccination in recent years, I've had a reaction that's put me into the bed for a day or two afterward. And I've had doctors tell me that couldn't possibly happen, but it keeps happening. So I decided that it was more beneficial to me to just work as hard as I could on being healthy and boosting my immune system so that my body itself would handle the incoming onslaught rather than depend on vaccinations. And in recent years, the only vaccinations that I've taken are ones that I absolutely had to have in order to travel outside of the country. And I got sick afterward for at least a few days, maybe running a fever, in bed. I mean, I would have all the symptoms as if I'd gotten the flu or something. And I don't just mean flu vaccines, I mean vaccinations for yellow fever and all the things you might have to take when you leave the country. So I just don't think it's a good idea for me to be taking vaccinations. Besides the fact that I seem to overreact to them, many of the vaccines have mercury in them that is put in there as a preservative. I mean, it has no useful purpose for the vaccine itself. It's in there because the vaccines come in multi-person vials instead of single-person vials. So to save a nickel or a dime, they put the mercury in there to make sure that no matter how many withdrawals they take from the container, it's still okay. And I find that appalling. I mean, I just think, like, really? We're all trying to avoid mercury? We're having our fillings drilled out to get the mercury out of our mouth. We're avoiding eating tuna because it has too much mercury in it. And it's in the vaccinations that we're being encouraged to take. I mean, that's just craziness as far as I'm concerned. And some of the vaccines, if they don't have mercury in them as a preservative, they will have aluminum in there as what they call an adjuvant. Now, an adjuvant is something that causes the immune system to have a bigger reaction than it might have without it. In other words, if they put a certain amount of the actual thing that they're trying to build up your immunity to in the vaccine, then they can add some aluminum to make it boosted, to make it more of an impact on your nervous system, with the idea that it will you'll build more immunity. Well, you know, I mean, in other words, the concepts behind vaccinations I don't have a problem with, but I have a problem with the way they're implemented. Aluminum is another one of those things that they find in people with Alzheimer's in their brains. So why would we're told not to use aluminum cookware, and yet they're putting aluminum in the vaccines. So I just think it's another one of those things where the idea is good, but the way that it's put into implementation is craziness. So here we are in the middle of the flu season, and gosh, I've gone to several of my meetings that I go to for enjoyment, and tons of people either have colds or they're they're wiped out by flu and they didn't show up at the meeting or whatever. So I'm making it through this season and made it through the last season, made it through the season before that without the flu. And I hope to continue to do that well into old age. So that's my health and wellness thought for today. And as usual, I want you to get well and stay well. Thanks.